as you've practiced through the many years, do you find yourself popping in and out of the open and close of the records like a habit of doing this with my guides? Actually, no. I mean, obviously spend a lot of time in the Akashic Records. I'm pretty much in there on a daily basis. But at the same time, I can go weeks without being in the records through my own intention. Um, and so part of what's happened for me, and I think happens for a lot of other people as well, is that the emphasis that the records have, especially when you connect at this deep um, dynamic level, right, within the infinite and the eternal, which is what I believe that I do and what I teach, is that um, it is that over time, your ability to receive knowing through the Akashic Records, right? So we're not just receiving information through the Akashic Records, we're receiving this whole sort of flow of divine consciousness, right? Because I think of the Akashic Records as a connection between divine consciousness and human consciousness, right? So it's both divine consciousness coming into us and human consciousness going into divine consciousness. And it is an exchange, it is a symbiosis that benefits, both. And the main effect that that has on a human being is that you learn to trust yourself. You learn to quit second guessing. You learn to let that critical voice kind of peter away. And in that ability to trust, you learn to believe in yourself. And that ability to be aware of knowing isn't something that's limited to the Akashic Records. For me, for example, it's become a part of my life. It's something that I take everywhere I go. There's no limit to my ability to be aware of knowing in the moment. And because of that, I have learned to really trust, like I think what most people would call their instinct or their intuition or the gut feeling or the call of their soul as it's been, opened and integrated into who they are. And that because of that, there's a lot of things I just don't even bother opening my records for because I'm in that incredible space of connectedness, and I've learned to trust myself. Sure, there are all kinds of things that show up in my life that I do go and ask the records for, and in fact I ask other people to open my records, so I'm not the one that's having to do the transmitting. I'm just the one that's doing the shifting. But I don't I I don't pop in and out. And part of it is I used to try to do that and they would just laugh. My guides just laughed at me. They're like, Cheryl, you don't need that. Come on, trust yourself. Trust yourself. And so, they kind of like disabused me of the habit of like popping in and out. And they're right. I have learned to trust myself. And I've seen it time and time and time again of students learning that same process of learning to trust themselves. And it's an interesting thing because a lot of people will come to the Akashic Records thinking that they're learning some sort of cool technique and skill to be able to get answers to the questions all the time. And they do, but what happens is that they learn to trust themselves to get the answers from within themselves instead of being, let's say, dependent on the Akashic Records for it. So it kind of again flips what we think the records are about into this process that helps you learn to believe in yourself and to trust yourself so that when something important shows up, you're not having to deal with this dependency on some other source. You are turning to yourself first and looking in, you know, looking into your heart and into your sense of essential self, and to that inner voice of truth, and hearing from within, like the answer to the question.